it's about building now. It's like, what does it look like when my kids, 8th generation, we actually have a concept around 8th generational wealth. What does it look like when people are consuming what I built now?
Wow.
And that hit me for 6. It hit me like, it slapped me, because it's great that you are earning income for today, but my children's children going to be able to say, you know, my grandmother, that building or that idea or that invention, that's actually comes from our lineage.
Hi, I'm Nontokozo Mangugu, and you are on Transgenerational Wealth. Today we have recently qualified doctor.
Yeah. Okay, that's not very doctorial. Yes.
Dr. Dudu Makhari.
Yeah, the crowd breaks out. Whoa.
How are you, Dudu?
I'm very excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
It's
a journey. I don't even. I'm like, when I turn 50, I'll go there.
Yeah, no, I had to do it before. Yeah, so I can talk about, before I was 50. This is the kind of stuff I used to be doing. Yeah, no, it sounds a bit like, woo, I have to. Okay, doctor. Yeah. So I was filling out some application yesterday. I'm like, is this the part I get? It says title. Yeah. Is this the part where and I was like, hey, can they give you your certificate first, please? So yes, Dr. Makhari, loading.
It's a lot of work, and
it is.
Yeah, we must go.
Yeah,
we get it. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I think I didn't know what to do with myself on Friday, because it's literally as recent as Friday when I sat for my defense, and I just didn't know what to do. We went to the mall, we came back, I slept, I woke up, I was just like, this is what it looks like. Wow. So yeah, I'm very grateful. It's a lot, but it was worth it.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. Please. Okay, we've introduced the doc part, but please tell us more about Dudu. Just a bit about your background, a bit about your childhood.
I am the daughter of Nomthandazo Baba and Sogani Yende, but my maiden surname is Mazibuko. Because my grandmother was very clear that I was married to her grandfather. Through logistics and life and burnt documents and blah, 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 we landed up with the surname Yende, but Umazibuko, Umuelas. So when I was 30, I then went and I changed my surname. To everybody else, it's like, but why would you do that? The admin. I was like, guys, I like the order. I like order. I really believe in, if this is my surname, then that's my surname. I must just take on my surname. So I was then Dudu Mazibuko, and I'm now Dudu Makhari, married to Chifiwa Makhari. I am God's favorite child. I think he has a soft spot for me. Yeah. He's like, oh man, okay, fine. What do you want? Okay, fine. I mean, I'm not supposed. Like, and it's a similar, and I like, my dad was like that with me. And I think my dad literally smacked me once, and I was asking for it, like proper asking for it. But generally, he was just like, I just had the soft spot. He had the soft spot for me. He used to call me, I'm a star. They used to tease me a lot, my siblings. I'm a star. Or Margaret Thatcher. And I was like, so now that I understand the office of Margaret Thatcher, I'm like, I'm gonna go fetch it now. I'm fetching that office. Yeah. So born and raised in Johannesburg. I went to school in Rustenburg. I went to a convent, came back to Joburg. That's where I did my high school. I'm a mom of 5 now. And my best advice to everyone is stop at 0, guys. Stop at 0. Okay. I do have 5 kids, so I'm talking from experience. Stop at 0.
Come on, Dudu. How are we going to do transgenerational?
About the topic of this podcast, though. But I've already got the 5, so now I must be transgender. So I love you guys. I love my kids. And I play golf, a little bit of golf, and I'm a big grudging runner. I know it's good for me. I know I have to do it, so I do it. And yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. That word serial entrepreneur has taken a very different meaning to me. So yeah, just in a nutshell, that's me. I love being alive. I think it's such a privilege. I think God is a genius, the way he's just knitted us together. His ability to, like, our whole reproductive system fascinates me. Just our whole digestive system fascinates me. So I'm constantly just on, so you decided we must put food in our mouth, and then it goes down tunnels, and then like that is genius.
And it doesn't cross each other.
It doesn't, and then we can breathe, and then I think God is a genius. I think you can't not believe that there's a higher power, and it's called God because of just how intricate and how complicated just being a human is. So I come to life. I have a lot of reverence for life, just for being alive and being able to walk and talk. I have prayer. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Thank you, Lord, in a shopping mall because I can afford to. I can run. You know, when I'm on the road, I'm like, Lord, I can run. I can actually get up and smell the air and run. What a privilege. So life is not, it's on purpose. And I like to say I live out very loud. I mean, as you can hear. I live out very loud. And also just, I live out loud because really, and I've seen, and because we also have the privilege of seeing differently abled people and how they rationalize the world and how I'm able to rationalize my world. We're alive, guys. We're like breathing. We can hear, we can see. We don't have a lot of hindrances to how we. So there's nothing that's beyond me, I think. I think I had the privilege of running down lots of rabbit holes and then coming back, fetching myself. I was like, Dudu, booyah. Wrong rabbit hole, booyah. You know? So yeah, I'm very excited about life. Very excited about seeing others live. And I'm fascinated by how people make decisions and how I'm fascinated about how others live. So you thought about that. Very interesting. I wouldn't have thought about that. Lord, about the pathways that you lead me down. So yeah, just excited about life. And that's me.
Wow.
As an opening, as a taster. First course of 9.
You know, you said you're a serial entrepreneur, which I fully get it. And I think when we were talking earlier, you said how people would you're doing so many things and you had to embrace it. I think I also found myself in that space where that is why I eventually embraced the name serial entrepreneur that time, because that sits well. It's like, listen, I'm everywhere and I'm not going to try to,
and my favorite thing is, I'm also not a shoe, guys. I don't live in a box, so don't box me. And if tomorrow I decide I want to sell, I don't know, whatever it is, well, that's where the Spirit is leading me, and I have the privilege and the risk appetite and the boldness to try something new and risk failing at it and risk not winning at it. But equally so, when you start, you have 100% chance of getting it right. You have and as you get to know yourself, as you are tapping into your gifts and your talents, then you're like, okay, maybe not that rabbit hole, maybe something else. So I think entrepreneurship is a space for special people because we get to experience ourselves in different facets and we get to try things and we get to see, fail and feel failure and then package it because now I can talk to you about this is what I would not do now, knowing what I know now. And I think having the holding pot that allows me to do that is such a privilege. I thank my husband daily, which I don't starve. I mean, can I get money? But I'm not starving. You know, he makes sure that I've got a roof over my head and we eat. But then I have the ability to decide what my day is going to look like. That one, like I thank God, like the fact that I can wake up in the morning and decide what I'm going to do today is God. And I don't think it landed. It landed when I was pregnant with. Is it number 3, number 4? It was number 4. And it landed. I was on maternity leave, and for a month I didn't know what to do. I didn't have. It just frustrated me that I couldn't think. For some reason, I just had like a mental block. And the idea of dignity in work then was so alive for me, that work is dignity. Being able to explore yourself and explore what you're able to do, it's just dignity, guys. It's such grace that now I
You can apply yourself.
and in different ways, and just try different things. That is it's such a privilege. So I feel very blessed. I walk around like a God-loved child, because I'm like, you must love me. I mean, like, for the fact that you allow me to do what I do, and be able to meet the number of people that I do and hold space. Because this is the thing around entrepreneurship, is that we then hold space for others to also experience themselves. Because when you employ, even if it's one person, that person now has the ability to think without being hungry. We have grown the art of hunting on an empty stomach. But it's not for everyone, you know, and to be able to hold space for people to watch you do it on an empty stomach, and when you fall, and then they have work. What a privilege. What
such a privilege. You're so right.
It really is.
Tell us a bit about, you know, how, as an entrepreneur, how you were introduced into that, how that idea was formulated in your mind, and just even of wealth creation, you know, growing up.
It dawned on me that I come from a generation of entrepreneurs. You know, both my paternal and my maternal grandmothers were both entrepreneurs. If besingathengisa inkukhu nontokozo besithengisa ama-ice, if bangasa ama-ice bekuyi-acha, if bangasa ama-ice i-acha bekuyi-amaskopas, and it didn't dawn on me only until later. We're like, no, actually my grand was an entrepreneur. I just didn't know that word then. And my paternal grandmother, similarly with her, you know, she was an economic migrant from Engoko, and they went to Motlabe. It's a village about 50 km from Sun City, and most people would know where that is. And she sold everything. She was a hustler of note. And I must have watched that, but because I didn't have the language of that entrepreneurship, I don't know what I thought it was, but I watched them provide for their family. And then I watched my dad do the same. My dad also was dabbling in a number of things, sometimes to our own detriment, because I never forget, I walked into the house one day, there was no furniture, because okay. And he didn't like offer us an explanation. It was like, he just expected that, oh, I don't know, he owed somebody, or I don't know, whatever the reason was. But we woke up and there was no furniture, and it was like, okay. And then we went to school, and that was
life
that.
Goes on.
And life literally, he just moved on. He was like, but are you hungry? Yes. Are you hungry? No. So do you have a roof over your head? Yes. Do you have water? So what's your problem? So I think I then grew up in that environment. My mom was a nurse, and she loved learning. And I think she got her degree because she was clear with being a staff nurse was not a thing anymore. And sister, as we call it. So I think at 50 or so, then she got a degree, her first undergrad degree. And because she was clear that she wanted better. So I kind of grew up in an education track. Education gets you somewhere. And entrepreneurship and being able to be vigilant to opportunities also gets you where. But there was nothing structured about it. It was very messy. You know, like you would see glimpses of success but it was just messy. So I come from a lineage of entrepreneurs, being my paternal, my grandparents, my dad in particular. My mom also used to sell paintings. She used to sell like these herbal products. She used to, so so the idea of creating more wealth or creating more money than you have is multiple income streams is then something that's been alive for me. Then I worked because I kind of was expected to. And then I think in 2006 I was just like, no, y'all, I don't know about this track. I don't know. I've always been very entrepreneurial in my spirit and in my just being, because even at work, full of ideas, full of energy. Let's do this, let's try this, let's try that. And then I thought maybe I could actually, and I fell into it. My risk appetite has always been was low, but now it's like super high.
Wow.
It was low, but I thought, no man, surely I can. And being curious about, so what does it look like when you are an entrepreneur? And yeah, then I jumped in, and it's been 2006. I've been in and out of work, and then my last stint, I think, has been since 2016.
Wow.
So I'm going on 10 years now of like kind of a consistent streak of being an independent consultant, then being a project manager, being a thought partner, starting a network of free Wi-Fi in Tibet colleges, selling cleaning products, trying to do a podcast. So, hey guys, I've tried a few things.
But it's a good thing, I think we've been on this drive. Actually, the Lord was speaking to us and saying, the scriptures tells us that seven streams of income, better 8.
Yes.
And I don't think that's something that we take seriously from the onset, even if you're going the route of corporate, to make sure that you are setting yourself up in preparation, for the future generations. And I think how are you now, because you said the entrepreneurial, workings in your family are a bit messy. How are you structuring them for not only yourself, but for your children now to inherit structure?
Yes. I belong to a collective group and we save together. And I've been exposed to different finance instruments. I can say things like finance instruments, financial instruments. And so the idea of wealth creation has now taken a different perspective for me. So it's not just about my career anymore. It's around how do I generate income. And I think that for me was the shift, is that it could have nothing to do with my career, how I generate income. It can have everything to do with how else I look at the world and how I attract wealth, the different instruments that one uses. So I'm part of 2 groups, in fact now 3, where we invest together as women. And we use then ETFs, we've got, we invest in other people's businesses, stocks. I'm learning so much stuff that, when you sit there and you're like, let me Google. Like, I'll put that in my parking lot of things to investigate after this. So now I've been exposed to a number of instruments that one can use to generate income. So I'm no longer kind of deep in the what career do I know? It's just how else can you generate money? Can I invest in other people who can go and make the money? Can I buy? Can I save? Can I put in a 32-day account? Can I stocks? So now that world, property, that world has now opened up to say, let's think about the different instruments, the different ways one can earn an income. Not to your fuguza now all the time, because it's not always going to be that it's your job that makes you wealthy. And having children and trying to incubate the mindset around income generation and career is a difficult one. The question now is, what problems are you going to solve? Don't tell me what you're going to be. What problems are you going to solve? Like, so how am I creating a thoroughfare for you to see the problems and for you to start thinking about how to solve those problems? Because perhaps in you trying to solve those problems, that's how you'll see the income streams. You might then want to get into retail. You might then want to invent something. So there's just so many different ways we need to apply our minds in terms of how to attract income, and not about, I'm going to be a soccer player, I'm going to be whatever it is. So financial instruments is my thing now, and helping my children understand that guys, it's not just about your career. It's about the problems you're going to solve and understanding how the financial world works.
Wow, that is really so amazing. I think I'm interested in how, as the women, how did you come up with that, or think to say, you know what, guys, we need to do something as women? Because when you look at scripture, so consistent with the how scripture, the word of God, portrays women, whether it's Proverbs 31 or whether it's the women that supported the ministry of Jesus, they were the ones in the forefront of really wealth generation and just building wealth. How did that formation come up?
So I was invited actually into the investment club, because at some point we're like, hey guys, we're not a stokvel. Call us a savings, an investment club. So I was invited into the investment club, and the idea was, it's called Basadi Pele. So women first. And we understand the ideas of Stokvel. We understand collective, ask Azadin and do something. We understood those. And because we've got lots of clever people and lots of very, very smart women in the group and who understand financial markets, who are CAs, who are investment people, who are in equity, then it was around how do we use what we know to then help us to understand the market. So it's an education platform where we educate each other around, actually, this is what an ETF is. This is what a bond is. This is what this is. So we gather to educate, to learn together. Then we invest for wealth, to generate wealth, because we have a 10-year horizon. So when you get in, you know, Guti, you're not going to get your money tomorrow. You're going to get it. In fact, it started with 5 years, then we were clear with 10 years, because then it allows the money to mature. It allows us to understand the issues of compounding. It helps us to understand markets. Then COVID came, then stocks dropped, then there's a scandal, then, you know, so there's so many things that affect how our money works for us. Being in this collective group allows us to unpack and to talk about it and to invite people that know why these things are happening to come and talk to us. But a person that's really underrated in the Bible is Shira. My girl. Shira is like, she's like, man, 1 Chronicles 7:24. And all it says about her is she essentially built 3 cities. Upper and Lower Beth Horon, and then like a boss girl, she named it after the last city she named after herself. Who's in Shira? I'm like, yes, girl, you must name the stuff after yourself. So, and when you think about the role of women in the Bible, and then there's one that built a city, guys, like she built 3, not just 1, she built 3. And when that scripture slapped me, because it really did a proper job on me, and then I thought, but I'm also the grandchild of Ephraim, yes? Like, really, my grandfather's name is Ephraim, and her grandfather is Ephraim. I was like, Lord, thank you for the science, because some of us need God to like really connect the
spell it
dots.
out.
God was just like, girl, I'm trying here, but okay. Now Shira is actually the granddaughter to Ephraim, Joseph, Manasseh. I was like, oh, okay. Then it landed, and she built a city. So you must then imagine sustainability, you must imagine infrastructure, you must imagine her being the having a holding pattern around organizing stuff, which is where now I'm at, because entrepreneurship was so all over the show for me. Now it's about structure. It's around what are the systems that we've got to put in place. What does it take to build institution? Because we don't see a lot of us, people that look like us, who build institutions that you can then put on your label 1809, 2002, and people 5 generations are going to be talking about it. So what does that mean? So as I now go down many different rabbit holes as an entrepreneur, it's about building now. It's like, what does it look like when my kids, 8th generation, we actually have a concept around 8th generational wealth. What does it look like when people are consuming what I built now? And that hit me for 6. It hit me like, it slapped me, because it's great that you are earning income for today, but my children's children going to be able to say, my grandmother, that building or that idea or that invention, that's actually comes from our lineage. And now I'm having to think about entrepreneurship differently. I'm having to really double click on, so what does it mean when I'm building wealth? What does legacy actually look and feel like? And what are the things that I need to do now? So it's no longer like a selfish endeavor around, okay, so we're gonna go there and play golf there, and no, it's like about, okay, who's gonna take over from you? One of my daughters says all the time, like, I'm gonna take over mommy's business. I'm like, great. But now I need to put in those. I've got a succession plan. So now I've got to put in the systems. And for me, compliance and governance is now a strategy. It's no longer, now I've got to no, it's a strategy now. Because if we don't get our systems and our compliance and our governance in place, then we are not going to build institutions.
Not at all.
And we are constantly just going to be, it's going to be a serial entrepreneur, great, because I've done 20 different things. But which of those are you building roots is for me kind of where I'm at around generational wealth. It's about systems. It's about ecosystems. It's about systems. I think that's my big thing now is around how am I creating systems that are going to outlive me.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. And before we, I want to get into this. There's that saying, which it's a continuation of what you've just said. That I read it. It's your quote that planting trees whose shade you'll never enjoy, and which is really about also building those systems.
Absolutely.
And maybe would you like to share maybe one or two to say these are the key things that I'm doing now with my family, with my children, with our businesses that we are forming, so that the women, or not just women, but everybody's watching, can learn and say, I'll take that away.
So ecosystems is a thing for me now, building, but for who is my driving question. It's like, I don't want to just build for my kids, right? So if I'm not just building for my kids and I'm building for a community, then the Chronicles 1:7-24 really is like my thing now. So I'm trying to fix a river. Wow. That's what I'm trying to do now. There's a river that runs through a number of villages in Motlabe. From Motlabe across, I think there's like 22 villages that this one river can nourish all of us. This one river can provide life for all of us. This river can provide an opportunity for all of us to learn, for our kids, for our education system. We can use this, we can have the schools come and talk about invasive plants. It's just so layered. And for me, it's almost like a single thread that one will be able to use to actually showcase what it looks like when you are doing legacy stuff, when you're doing real building stuff that has technically nothing to do with me, but everything to do with me, because I don't live in that community. I live in another province, in fact. But the sacrifice that one has to make sometimes to be able to see things that are just beyond you. This is a proper exercise of I've been sent. I'm being sent, and I'm responding to being sent. So this river for me is systemic. It's a systemic intervention. So it's not a fly-by-night thing. I'm not going to solve it in one day. It's going to take years. It's going to take different people. It's going to take government, private, public, community. Generations are going to get busy with this one thing. How is it legacy? Because then our agricultural landscape will change, because now we'll have water. Our careers, our children will get to see different careers from just being a miner. Now they'll understand technology, they'll understand bridges, because I'm sure we're going to build lots of bridges where this river flows. It's an opportunity to learn, it's an opportunity and that is what legacy is. When whatever it is that you're doing has so many different feeds that affect so many different people, that the impact of that work is going to outlive you. Whether it's just giving a person to be like, I didn't know that career existed. Oh, great. Here's something I can get into. So that's the one project that I'm really passionate about. We've just started it, and I'm like, okay, Lord, right, let's do this. The other passion area for me is access to technology, to digital technology. I learned of the TVET space is also a passion point for me. So our technical vocational education institutions it's not Wi-Fi for days. It's like 2 spots in the campus will have Wi-Fi. So then you literally see young people, all of them, to the admin block, or all of them are congregating to do their homework. I'm just like, it's 2025, guys. That can't happen. So being able to free Wi-Fi to give access, because now the UN has declared access to Wi-Fi or access to the internet as a basic human right. And absolutely, you can imagine yourself when you don't have Wi-Fi with your kids. So being able to, and it's not just about giving them free Wi-Fi, it's about their ability to innovate, their ability to connect with the world, their ability to research, their ability. So it's not just about the rands and cents at the end of the day for us, because we're essentially a digital publishing platform. It's about the access that it can give those that we are giving the service to. So legacy then takes on a commercial commercial interest for me, but also social impact, because now what is commercially viable for me is actually has social impact for other people. And those are the two projects that are like keeping me super busy, and then trying to then earn a living on a day to paying the bills. You know, then oh yes, I've got to pay that bill too. And I'm a management consultant by trade, so I'm a thought partner. I do project management. I'm trying to hone in my gift of speaking and being able to, because I'm articulate, so I'm trying
doctor
to.
now, so hey.
Hey man, I'm doctor who's articulate. Yeah. So just trying to use that gift and lean into that gift of being able to speak to people and being able to hold conversations and ask the right questions and allow people to be easy in your environment because you're having a conversation with them. So trying to tap into that to earn an income. So I'm kind of learning about a long-term projects that are sustainable, and then the interim projects that allow you to kind of put food on the table. And yeah, so that's kind of like my whirlwind of, when I think transgeneration, when I think legacy, when I think wealth creation, it's so layered. And then, because I need the structure, then be like, okay, one thing at a time. Let's block these things. What am I doing today? What am I doing this week? And ordering my day. So every day I'll be like, what am I doing today? Because I know I'm not going to get through the 10 million things on my list. What needs to be done today? And then doing that. And then having my kids see me do it is the cherry on top. When they hear the conversations. The other day, my daughter, they appointed me board of a board chair of a board I sit on. And she was like, so what is a chair? What is a board? Are you like a stool, mommy? Yes, I am the stool. Then it was an opportunity for me to then double click on what is a board? What is this role? Why am I the board chair? What are the other roles? And that was such a beautiful moment, because then they were able to tap into my world because they see it. I take them to meetings. If I have events, I take them to the events so that they see this thing happening. And I what I wish on myself was to have seen the structured side of it. Now I have that opportunity to give them okay, so actually let me take you backstage and show you actually how a business is run. Let me show you my books. Let me show you why I don't have money this month. Let me show you. So that's now a slower process to say, how do I drip feed what it looks like to run a successful business?
Wow, that's really amazing. I mean, even though you didn't have structure, but God is giving you the opportunity to build the structure and the systems, which then you pass on to your children.
Yeah.
Well, we have I think we're an amazing generation. We're so almost like the bridge. We've been given the opportunity to build.
Yes.
And that's why I love the builders or the builder of cities.
Yeah.
But we'll talk stories for another day.
Shira deserves her own show. Shira deserves her own show.
So we're building cities. You and I. We're on city building project. It's amazing, but we'll talk about it another day.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about I heard you when we were talking earlier on. A little bit about the education. How did you get into that? Because it's so important, and I really deeply feel passionate about. We are lacking something in our education system. We are lacking something, whether education at home or education within the education system, that we're not building mindsets or preparing young people for either wealth generation or making them feel like it's okay to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Do it. It's fine. But we move this path, and then they realize later on that okay, I don't like this path. Then they have to start from scratch. But how has it been your experience in the education? A career, or not career, but
No, career is the right word.
Okay, career.
one of many.
One of many. Yeah, one of many.
So education, I was led to the education space. Wow. It really was a God-designed thing. I had no idea I would be in the space. And I had said to myself, I would only be in government for 5 years, and that's it. Because I knew if I stayed any longer, I'd be there longer. And I was clear at some point that I needed a diversified portfolio of things that I was exposed to. So to the day I left, and on my last day at work, I did not have a job. So that Friday, the 12th of February, 10 years ago, I did not have a job at 8 o'clock that morning when I woke up. By 3 o'clock that afternoon, I had an interview for the next day because then I went on Facebook, I went into my MBA class, somebody had posted an opportunity, I sent through my CV, and the guy picked up because then I phoned to make sure that it was received. He picked up the phone, the whole MD picked up the reception phone because they had just come back from the bathroom, as the story goes. I was leaving Cape Town that weekend, and he was like, "Oh, can we see you tomorrow morning?" I was like, "Yeah, no, sure." By 12 o'clock the next day, I had a job.
Wow.
So God meant for this, for me to be in education. And then having been in this ring for 10 years now, education is what we make it. We must curate the kind of education that we want our kids to have. We have the opportunity to curate what, where, who, what they learn. School is one track. School is almost like it's one track. It gives you a matric, it gives you a certificate, it allows you to do whatever it is that you need to do. It gives you access to a variety of things. But the curation of education, the idea of education cannot be left to a system like the education system. You as the parent have got to decide, what is your expected result? Actually, that's going to be the name of my podcast, by the way. The expected result. And so what are you looking for in your children? What do you want? Negotiate with them. What is it that you want to do? Because then you've got to create a pipeline of things or a conducive environment for them to be able to be that. School is not going to give you everything. The first classroom is home. And that's the part that parents miss. We are the first classroom. In fact, we are the most important classroom because your kids go into the classroom, the school classroom, and they just behave like you behave at home. So if your kids are the bullies, they don't just pick the stuff up from there. They're seeing it at home. If your kids are not kind, if your kids are not all the things that you don't want them, we must self-introspect and be like, at home, how am I raising my children? Who am I exposing them to? Am I protecting the ear gate, the eye gate, the spiritual gate? Because now we've abdicated our responsibility to gadgets. And then we're like, no, take those gadgets away. Let's start having conversations with our children. So education for me has become a space for personal awareness. How do we enable our kids to be self-aware? Because if you're not self-aware, you're going to struggle. So, and personal agency for me is a big thing. It was part of my research study as well. I was looking at teacher agency and as leadership though, and how is that activated in the schooling environment? So if you are an agentic person and you can see that, oh snap, I've got 100 people in my classroom, how do I organize these children? An agentic person is going to make a plan, but a non-agentic teacher is going to throw their hands in there and be like, yeah, but the system, I've got an overcrowded classroom, and then put their hands in the air and bury their face. So education is about how do we create conducive environments for our children to be? How do we create a conducive environment to understand your gift and your talent? Because we are all on this earth. I know churches say this all the time. I used to roll my eyes, but I've learned. It is true, people. It is true. We all have gifts and talents. We are all born for a purpose and a season and a reason. Ours is to find out what that is. Because there's no way I was just born in jail. No, God is not that kind of, he's not that person. He's very intentional. So education now it's a tool. It's about creating systems. It's about creating platforms. It's about enabling conversations. Let me talk to parents. Let's talk as parents. What are you struggling with? What am I struggling with? What are you getting right? What am I getting right? Because it really does #take a village. So in my space now as an education practitioner, it's around being in ecosystems, doing ecosystem work. How are we empowering the parents, the teachers, the gogos, the traditional council, the businesses? How are we all endearing ourselves to this project of educating a generation to be able to do specific things? The years of just send your kids to school, And uzobona bazobonisa. They will bonisa you. They will show you. So that space now is a deep passion point. I think we've abdicated our responsibilities as parents. The first classroom being the home has lost its meaning. We're not, because we're working, and I get it. We're working. You've got to be up at 4 to put your. I get it, but in getting it, there's always a but. That if we don't raise these children, we are going to get what we don't want. The expected result, the result is not going to be what we want, nor what we expect. So let's all put shoulder to the wheel. Let me host sessions on, I don't know, because I'm great at whatever. Bring your kids on a Saturday morning. Let me, as Auntie Dr. Dudu, do something with them. You are good. You've got a factory. Let my kids come. Let's all go. Let's do a field trip. Let's go and see how Auntie Nontogozo does her things. We, each of us, with the kind of access that we have, with the kind of networks that we have, our kids must be building. We must be solving problems now. Because if we don't solve the problems are going to solve you. We drive deliberately through Alex. Deliberately. Because I do not want to raise children who think Santon is the norm. This is how we know. So, and I say to them, when we drive there, it's with a sense of reverence, because now you know where you come from. It's with a sense of appreciation, because now you're like, I have my own room. We have this way. And you get to see the contrasts. And now it's, how do I solve it? How do I bring people? How do I bring the very 8-year-old, the 12-year-old that I see on the street into my world? Because if we don't do that, we continue this segregation, this deep inequality deepens if we are not using the education that our parents fought so hard for, paid through their noses to get us through these private schools. If we're not using that, I think that's the generational burden for the Model C generation in my mind, is that how do we actually use this privilege that we were given, being the first Black, the only 2 in the class. What are we doing with that? What are we doing with that? So that's what education for me is. And that's where we should all be. Let's have conferences. Let's have a conference, all of us guys, please. And say, this gap, there's a big gap. And if we don't do something about it.
And I think the power of, as you said, collaboration, where I might have certain skill sets that I can be able to impart. Actually, I'm going to have a holiday program for the children and younger youth, because I think it's where we're not focusing on building the people. I think because of the career pushing agenda and money making, we're forgetting to build these human beings and prepare them for the future, so that they can think about fixing the river issue, not just self, because that's a problem we have with the young ones. It's all about me. So that's really amazing. I think we're in trouble, but I also have then we're not in trouble, because then I'm sitting and having this conversation with you, and I know I'm going to have more conversations, because as I watch the guests that you've had, I'm like, no, Sizoba, right? Because we're having the conversation, it's now about, let's make it a groundswell. Let's let's make the circle bigger. And let's open up our spaces. Let's open up our offices. Let's open up our homes. Because we're also we don't open up our homes. People, and we grew up in it where homes are open.
Absolutely. Shocking. I'm sure a lot of us have pools in our houses, and inviting people to come and help them to swim is something that we can all do, and the difference that it would make. Or just, abantu abashala who don't live in the big buildings and the nice houses that we live in, just to have a bath. I was so shocked the other day. Somebody said to me, I haven't had a bath. I've never been in a bath. And umuntu mdala, they've never had a bath. They've always used but they've never been. Yes, indeed. And a shower is a very foreign concept to her. She's 30. And a shower is a foreign concept to her in 2026. And a bath is like, just, that landed for me. I was like, wow. And not that a path is a big thing, guys. I'm not saying making it like who, but in the context of what I know, in the context of just where I am, where when I go to the rural areas and my biggest issue is like, oh, my hair in tutu, in my dreads. That's my biggest concern. And they're just like, girl, bye. Like, this is how, girl, bye.
Wow. No, I think we have a lot of work to do. And I think what you're saying, you will see I remember growing up in these multiracial schools and, back then sleepovers were safe, and like now.
Yeah.
And my family would allow me, or my parents would allow me to go. And we would go from one house to another in terms of they would have dinner parties, and then you'd see all the adults there sitting every Wednesday or every Tuesday or whatever, they rotating and they're having these dinner parties and just observing. That's where they're discussing these things, making deals or planning for the future. And those are the things that we need to incorporate, as you're saying,
but we don't.
as part of
we don't.
But we need to be intentional and do it.
I think because we have a scarcity mentality, and when you build wealth and you build transgenerational wealth, it can't be this is all I want to know. I now know, so I'm not going to let anybody else know. I find we struggle with that, with bringing everybody on board, because we're so consumed with making sure that our family is okay. And in doing that, then all of us are like this. Instead of saying, I'd love to sit with billionaires and be like, no, God, this is how I did it. This is actually how this is how I built my business. But I have not been exposed to enough opportunities to sit with people who are honest to say, then this business shut down, then this is what I had to do, then this, we don't have those conversations. I'm actually being reprimanding myself because I was playing golf with someone and they did share. And it was so refreshing to hear a person say, I too didn't have money. I had a thing called the 22 Rand index when I couldn't afford ideally 22 Rand. And as an entrepreneur, and those entrepreneurs would be like, no, we've been there. But it was such a 22 Rand was my moment of, I think Yinga Pambana for exactly 7 minutes. And I was like, what do you mean you got to put tea for 22 Rand? Like, what does that even mean? But this is people's lives, and she was able to say to me, no, don't get it twisted. Sitting on this and this directorship and what. I've had a moment where I didn't know where my next check was going to come from. And she validated my feelings, she validated my experience, and it was such a prize moment that a person of that stature would have been able to be frank and be like, guys, don't look at us and think Gutigumnandi. You see us on these stages. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Because actually, in boardrooms, these are the struggles. This is what we go through. And I think more of those conversations will help us on our journeys as we create wealth. Because we look to them because you look wealthy. And it's like, just because I look wealthy. Hey, don't you see my bank account? So and that's an important just being able to be open with people. So I share my 22 Rand index story all the time because I'm called rich auntie. I've got rich auntie vibes, and I'm like, I want to put on rich auntie vibes, but there was a period in my life. I'm still in that period where it's a 22 Rand index story, guys, because I didn't do enough in my business to put in the systems when I had the great client and the retainer to then go after other clients because I got comfortable. It was a nice life. And then the contract ends unceremoniously. It ends. When you didn't expect it to, it ends. Then what? So being able to be honest about those journeys, I think will also liberate entrepreneurs to be like, guys, let's just admit when we are not doing the things, when compliance is not your friend, let's admit it, get over it, go be compliant. Go get your governance systems in place because we're not building wealth if we don't have. We're not the Rockefeller generation who are making sure that in their financial instruments are in place. Guys, that story gets me all the time. Just how that empire, that today we are still able to look at and understand how that wealth was generated. it's amazing.
Sure.
So
yeah, I think one thing that we're taking away from this podcast is, as you said, building systems, building the structures, governance, making sure even documenting, so that the future generation they can inherit something that is already established. It's not easy to dismantle, because by the third generation they usually call them a generation of squanderers. But
about that generation, I want to go Auntie Dr. Dudu on them, not Dr. Dudu on them, because now that's a generation we need to have lots of conversations with.
Yeah. But I think it's being intentional, making sure that we're training them, educating them, bring them on board early to understand how to build not spend well,
build institutions. And it's hard. You have to have a developmental mindset when you build institution. You've got to appreciate the losses. You must appreciate the pain, and have that 10-year, 20-year view, because my kids go to a school that is not even 10 years. I think we're 10 years this year. And I say to parents all the time, we're not the 100-year school. So there's a number of things that we're going to have to live through. We must be the generation that buys something that's more expensive because it comes from a person that looks like us. We must be able to buy something that's 10% more expensive, because we get that if we don't help Nontogozo with her business, she can't build the institution. So if I can spend more, and I get it that it's more, but you must spend it with, I'm spending more, but I'm actually spending less in the long run. I'm allowing my children to see Unontogozo have whatever the label is, whatever the institution, that we can walk into a building that's written Manguku Enterprise. 18, okay, in our case won't be 18, 1970, whatever. And we'll be like, oh, wow, she looked like me, she sounded like me. So if my parents had a hand in supporting this business, and here I am maybe working for Nontogozo Manguku Enterprise. And that's how we've got to think about it. That when I spend my money, my rand, and it goes around my community, it's not for my kids. It's not for me. It's actually for my kids and for their kids. And the more we spend with each other, the more we consciously and intentionally spend Manguku Enterprise. Then we will see a shift, because it's intentional and it's painful. Because you're paying like 1,000 rand more for this dress, but Unontogozo is creating wealth for how many other people? You are creating careers, and until we switch and understand. And yes, I know cheaper is. They say it's cheaper, but is it really?
It isn't. Actually, it isn't. It isn't. I've been just recently went to Ghana and just was appreciating the fabrics, the story, the time it goes into weaving them. And obviously the longevity, it's not going to be like those that you buy on some of those online platforms we don't want to mention. You can... you got to pass it on to your children.
I'm still wearing my mom's gear today because she invested. And the point I want to make around raising a generation of conscious consumers is that it's not just about conscious consumers in the sense that we must eat healthy, etc. But it's about the process. It's about understanding what you are going through as an entrepreneur. So I must go out of my way. Yes, it's going to cost me, it's going to be longer. I must go buy Gulo Mama Estrateni, her fruits and veg. But she woke up at 4 to get to Joburg Market.
In stock.
To Oogstoga. So it's a whole mindset thing. We need to be conscious consumers, conscious buyers, conscious investors, so that our money goes into hands that will grow our community. Not at the exclusion of others, of course. I think we can look at lots of...
circulate amongst us more times.
And we must be okay with that. Because the other communities are very clear. Anyway. And I'm not embarrassed. Even in my speak, I'm like, no. They're like, girls buy. Yes, we are going to support each other.
Wow. No, thank you so much. I wish I had more time. There's so much time. Like literally, there's so much that we haven't even touched.
Actually,
Like,
I feel like we're gonna have a redo.
Yeah, definitely. No,
We're gonna shelve this episode and then go in and do like another. Now we
Yeah.
must make sure everything is the same.
Yeah.
So that we just continue. But I think this is such a great start. And I've listened to your guests and your show, and the fact that it's so purpose-led, I think makes this platform, gives it the power that it has. And my kids and I have been listening, and really, mommy, we listened to it when you had your kids. I think the one was with your son,
yeah.
and other people. And I was like, OMG, this is what generational anything, this is what legacy looks like. And we need to have a rubric of when we talk about legacy. What is legacy? So that we all know, so legacy, this is what it looks like, this is what it feels like. And to be able to curate it as a community, to like, guys, when we're building legacy, this is how we behave. We buy from our own. We buy, yes, it's more expensive, but we've understood the process. We've understood what goes into it. We've appreciated. We've supported. Maybe we've even volunteered to say, actually, I have this skill. And maybe on a Saturday I can come and help, or after school or whatever it is, I can come and help. It's a mindset thing. It's a mindset change.
Wow, you heard that. It's a mindset shift. We really need a mindset shift in order. It might be expensive now, but it's going to get cheaper the more we circulate this money. And build wealth as Africans, guys. It's our time. It's Africa's time. So thank you so much, Dudu, for making time. I know it's been... But we got it through. We made it. This is Nondozo Magnogo, and you are on Transgenerational Wealth. Bye.